April Altenew release is filled with stamps, dies, stencils, embossing folders, embellishments, and more. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video, I'll be sharing a whole bunch of items from Altenew's April release. But the best part is that this video is part of Altenew's Video Hop. They are celebrating the release of the April products, and there are tons of giveaways available. So be sure to watch until the end of this video and I'll tell you more about those giveaways. But for now, let's jump right into the card making and I'll highlight the new products as we go along. First, let's take a look at the Craft Your Life project kit called Rustic Charm. There's this big 6x8 stamp set with birds, leaves, stems. There's also a die set to cut out all of the flower clusters, the fence, and the birds. There's also a 3D embossing folder for the fence, and there are stencils to color all the elements of the stamp set in. So starting with the Rustic Charm 3D embossing folder, I'm placing an A2 piece of white cardstock vertically inside that embossing folder, and it embosses beautifully. Next, I'll take the first stencil for the fence and line it up over that embossed element. Now I have some Altenew ink, it's called Sand Dunes, and a couple of blending brushes from Altenew as well. And I'm just adding some ink over that embossed area. So it looks absolutely like real wood planks because you get all the wood grain and detail and texture from the embossing folder. And then the ink is not, you don't need it to be perfectly opaque in all the areas because this is an aged wood. And so it looks more realistic if you kind of just do a slight coverage in blend. You don't have to do a full opaque coverage in blend. I'm using a slightly darker color of brown for the slats that go in between the fence and hold it together. And look at that, that's so much fun. This is the Stamp Perfect conditioner from Altenew. This is a way to have your new stamps conditioned so that they stamp perfectly from the first stamp. Often I'll have to stamp new stamps 2 or 3 times before I get them to really stamp the image perfectly. But with the stamp conditioner, I've inked up this bird from that stamp set and it stamps perfectly all of the details right away. So I love that new Stamp Perfect. This is a set of blending brushes called the Micro Blending Brush Set from Altenew. These are perfect to get into these tiny areas. You can see that some of the stencils have really detailed areas where you are just using a tiny bit of ink to color in a tiny spot like on this bird, which makes these micro blending brushes perfect for this type of stencil. First of all, you're able to get into those tiny areas and fill in completely the area that you're supposed to color. And they allow you to get in all those little cracks and crevices as well. Plus, you're not wasting any ink because you're just putting a tiny amount on that brush that's enough to color in those tiny little areas. So I am a big fan of these micro blending brushes. They are a great addition to the blending brush lines from Altenew. Just a note about the stencils and the birds. So there are 2 stamps of birds. They face each other, so they're mirror images. For the stencil, you flip them around. There are 2 dies as well. So just know there's only 1 stencil, just flip it over for the other bird. Here's a little branch with some berries on it as well. And that again can be colored in with these micro blending brushes. Nothing here is all that large. And I'm able to even color in with 2 different colors of greens on the leaves, which give it an even more realistic effect if the stamp set and the colors weren't realistic enough for you. So these blending brushes are great to have, and the dies are always nice because then you can pop things up on your card. Here's a sentiment from the stamp set. It says, "Celebrating you." I'll just stamp that at the top using my Altenew stamp wheel, which means I can flip it over and stamp it twice to get that perfect just crisp black sentiment. Next, I'll use some foam squares to pop up the branch that has the berries and have that sort of off the edge of the card on the right-hand side, and then pop up the bird on top. The little feet can look like it's going right around that branch there. How amazing are these stencils, stamps, and embossing folder? It's such a great kit. It's so beautiful. It's so unique looking as well. It's also perfect for spring and summer and beyond. So here I'm using the same embossing folder. So it's the 3D Rustic Charm embossing folder, but I've placed an A2 piece of white cardstock inside horizontally rather than vertically. So we're getting the full fence here on this card, and I'm using sand dunes again. I'm going over it a little bit darker this time, and then I'm using that second color that's a little bit darker and the micro blending brushes once again, not completely trying to make an opaque blend on top of this fence because I want to see all that texture. Check that out. Here's another stamp from the stamp set of Rustic Charm. It's got some roses and some leaves, and I thought that would be fun to color in. There are stencils that color this in as well, which makes it really easy. Of course, you could stamp and color this image with markers or watercolors. I really like the stencils. I find them so easy to use. They're easy to line up, and they just make coloring so quick and easy. Love having a couple of different colors to be able to add different shades and blending again to those leaves. And you can see some of the colors that I chose for the flowers. I have mauve up there and pink crystal as well. I'll try to link to all the ink colors that I use down in the description box below the video. This also has a die to cut it out, and this time I'm using the One Go Words and Banners set. So the stamp set is all those sentiments in one stamp, and the die is all cuts out all of those flags with one die. I love sentiment sets like this. I find this so cool because then in one pass, you are creating a whole bunch of sentiments that you can slide to the side of your desk, and as you're creating cards, you can just grab these little sentiments. They're all ready to go for you. So I've stamped them in a couple of different colors. I have sapphire, I have black, and I decided to use one of those on this card. So I have the fence on that background. I'll pop up the roses like they're coming over the fence, and then use one of the sentiments that says "Have a great day." Pop that up as well. And then I have the mossy granite enamel dots that I'll add, and some clear ones on top of the flowers for little dew dots as well. In my Altenew release video from last month, I mentioned how much I love that they're making press plates that can be used with the Spellbinders Better Press. So here I have the Baroque Elegance press plate and several different colors of the Spellbinders Better Press ink cubes. And I'm creating a gradient of colors, some pinks and like corals. This way it will change colors as it goes down the panel there. I absolutely love the way that looks, but I thought I would add a little bit of Altenew blush in the background of this, so it wasn't quite as stark white, and then that image of the Baroque Elegance press plate. I really do like it that way, so I am adding also some ink to a piece of cardstock. Now, this ink is that pink crystal that I love so much, and I'm using the Timeless Sentiments 2 dies to cut out a shadow of that cardstock that I covered with ink. This way it will match that blush and everything else in the background. The Timeless Sentiments dies comes with words and shadows. I love these. They're big, they're bold, they really take up a good amount of space on a card front, so that if you're using a really beautiful background like that Baroque Elegance press plate, you can just add a couple of things and that is enough with that sentiment. So for this card, I'll add a piece of Moonlit Silver glitter tape from Altenew. I'll just place it on the card and then wrap the edges around the back. This is the Gem Sparkles Smoky Quartz set, and I'll add a few of those around the sentiment for a little bit of extra shine and dimension. That's all you need for this card. It's so easy to create and so much fun. This is the new Fuchsia Mirror Hot Foil Roll, and I'll be using that on top of the Baroque Elegance press plate. I love using press plates as hot foil plates. They work beautifully. But there's also a gorgeous Petal Harmony hot foil plate and silver hot foil as well in this release. So I'll use both of those together too. And I also have some of the sentiments from the press plate that I'll use on some hot foil too. So check out the Baroque Elegance press plate as a hot foil plate, and the fuchsia. Absolutely gorgeous, great design, and also so much shine. And this is the Petal Harmony. It's a great background. It's subtle enough that you could use it with a light color like that silver, or bolder if you use it with the fuchsia. So it really creates a great background for cards, but so does that press plate. I love using them with the glimmer machine. Okay, so first of all, I have that Petal Harmony hot foil plate that I used with the silver, and I'm using a little bit of ink blended on top. So I'm using, again, a larger blending brush this time because I'm trying to cover up the entire card front. That silver foil will resist the ink, so you'll still see it shine. I'm using some sapphire ink this time to cut out the words from that Timeless Sentiment die set. And then I have the shadow in white with just a little hint of the ink around the outside. And that's a fun look as well. So have fun with these dies, layer them up and use different colors, and always, I think, add some foam adhesive in the back. I also have one of those flag sentiments from the One Go, and this one says happy birthday, and then the large sentiment says have a good day, and then I'll just add some of the deep sea sapphire gem sparkles. These blues are gorgeous. I'm a big fan of the sapphire ink, so these gems are perfect for me. Here's a little look at that Timeless Sentiments die set. You can see that I have a piece of cardstock that I've cut out some things out of, and then I placed the Baroque Elegance that I foiled on top, cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. Now I have some gold mirror cardstock placed onto some fuchsia colored cardstock that matches with that foil. And so this sentiment says sending smiles. Now you can see on the smiles there, I did fix the little dot on the eye. It had kind of floated over to the side, and I just realized it as I was working on the rest of the card. I also added one of those One Go sentiments and some gold gem sparkles. For this next card, I'm using the Petal Harmony that I foiled in fuchsia as the background. I have Celebrate that I cut out of the Timeless Sentiments 2 dies, and I've cut out 3 Celebrate words. This time I am stacking up those Celebrate words because I think they will look phenomenal stacked up all in the same color of cardstock so that you can't see anything but that color from the side. Then I'll place a little bit of liquid adhesive behind that stacked up sentiment and then place it on top of the shadow that I cut out of white cardstock. So a lot of white and pink on this one. I think that really brings the whole card together. Again, I love word dies like this because you can then pop them up. They have lots of dimension and they're big and bold. I added a One Go sentiment at the top that says congratulations. And these are the iridescent crystal gem sparkles to add a little shine and sparkle around that sentiment. I hope you could tell how much fun I had creating with these new supplies from Altenew. I'd love to hear if something new caught your eye. Let me know in the comments below. As I mentioned at the start, this video is part of Altenew's Video Hop. They are celebrating their April release and they have loads of giveaways. All of the information about the YouTube Hop will be in the YouTube description box, which is right underneath this video. So be sure to comment and don't forget to leave your favorite emoji in the comment as well. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Video Hop, Release Hop. Release Hop video. Hop video? But the best part is, okay. But the best part is that this, there's a lot of words and I don't know that they all go together, but